Hi guys. Hey, too late. How are you today? Sorry. Actually preparing to go out. So, yeah. So, here we are. Our topic for today, it's quite funny. I just saw it over Facebook and it says here that wait, let me read it out for you. Choo 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 choo. This is not Wait. Okay. So there was a post on Facebook and I actually talked about this a long time ago, but this is like a perfect reason. Like it makes sense and it's true. So I'm gonna talk about it right now. Can you see me? Can you see my beautiful face? Just kidding. So here, it says here why a lot of Filipinas uh, marry foreigners. That's a good question. I'm gonna be talking about my comment later. I mean, my personal opinion. I've talked about this before, and today I'm gonna be talking about it. So, here they said like the person said like long time ago I was one of those marites. When I say marites, this is like a code name. It's like America's Karen. So if they say you're such a marites, it means you are a Karen. So, or a person who, because it started from a bad person who, stole care goods, not care goods, but she took them all without considering others. Anyway, moving forward, here, she said, like, I used to judge people who are marrying Americans or foreigners, like other nationalities. Honestly, I still prefer Filipinos. But now I understand why a lot of Filipinas like foreigners. So she said, like, she understands that, which I also know, well, not all foreigners are rich. So we couldn't really say that money is the number one reason why foreigners love, why Filipinos love foreigners. So most of it, it's because when a foreigner marries, their priority is their wife. So please tell me if that's true. I of course I'm dating, but like for you guys, do you in your country or for yourself, are do you actually prioritize like once you're married or you have a girlfriend, do you actually prioritize your wife or girlfriend? Unlike here, so she said, unlike in the Philippines, like some people are still mama's boy. Well, in this case, I disagree a little bit because in Japan, I've met a lot of mama's boys as well. But in Japan, it's a different type of mama's boy. It's more of like filial piety. Like they respect their elders so much. Like first family is more important, but not to the extent that they would ignore their current family. So that's a good part. So here, and when a lot of Filipino men, let's ask them next time, are still mama's boys. Some of them, and sometimes when they enter the family, woman enters the family. Okay, they couldn't protect their wives from these, from the in-laws or so on. And so that's number one. So it's not about money. And then second is there is no monster in-law. Is that true? So for me, because because mostly most foreigners, their parents have their own savings. So whatever their son achieves in life, they're just proud of it and they will be very supportive. As it's the same as, like there is no jealousy among in-laws and daughter-in-laws. So please tell me about if that is true. So like unlike in some Philippines, in the Philippines sometimes, because the son is sometimes the eldest son is a breadwinner, they couldn't really focus on prioritizing new family. Now, in this case, I totally agree. It didn't happen to my mother's side of the family. Even to my father's side, I didn't really see it. My mother's side, I don't know why I didn't see it, but my father's side, my younger brothers are still young. They're not married, but they're technically not breadwinners yet. But it happens a lot. Like once, like I see it online, like especially men who are working abroad, Filipinos, like they still have to send money to their family, because out of respect, and at the same time they are expected to give back for all of those expenses that they've had when they were younger. So they actually see that as something, unacceptable. And she said that sometimes there's no financial literacy among the other families. So in this case, they couldn't save for their own future, and the cycle begins again. Number three, there are a lot of Filipinos who are not good provider. It's not saying that you have to be rich, but you have, like sometimes they prioritize what their friends need. Like for example, drinking with friends. We call that pakikisama. Pakikisama is get together. So I totally agree with this. I'm a product of this. My dad prioritized his friends above us, so I understand. Or sometimes they actually do show. So she said here, sometimes they prioritize their friends, or playing games, video games, and when they, yes. Oh, so if she said here, if the guy is working, and the woman is also working, like a double income, they would demand like, where did you put your money? And if the woman is not working and taking care of the kids, and this is a full-time job, they would actually say like, hey, like, where did you put the money? Like, what did you do with the money? I gave you so much money. But in fact, it's not enough. I mean, especially with the living expense now in the Philippines, it's totally not enough. Number four, they don't want to separate from their parents' house. So a lot of Filipinos, of course, it's understandable that some Filipino men, they prefer to live with their parents' house. It is because it's way cheaper. So here I would, I don't know, but I don't agree with this that much. But in some foreigners, they could afford to buy a house or provide a house that is separated from the family. So somehow it's actually not good for Filipino women. It is because, there can only be one queen in the house, right? And then number five, they said, once the woman starts working, the man becomes lazy or becomes dependent on the woman's income. This I kind of agree. I've seen this several times. I've heard this several times. I've experienced it secondhand. My dad, sorry pa, but like once when my stepmom was making money, my dad was like, whatever, he spends his money for his own. So my stepmom used the money from the rental things, rental rooms, and then it's really disheartening because you have responsibility for your kids and so on. So it they become a bit lazy and depend on that. And then it also happens, like if you guys notice, there's a statistics that I saw that there are a lot of Filipina women working abroad, and these women, they're the sole providers since their husbands are in the Philippines. I don't have anything against house husbands or something like that, but they become too dependent, and in this case, they don't care whatever the wife does as long as the wife provides them money. I can state like my sister, eldest sister, she came to Japan. Well, I never met her here, but she came to Japan, and then she had a Filipino partner, and in order to get a visa here, she got married. And then the Japanese really loved her, but unfortunately she was marrying him for the visa. And they were living together in Japan, and the Filipino guy was okay. And or maybe not okay, but the fact that she sends all her salary to him is like, what? Like, girl, prioritize yourself. And then next one, yeah, so they said most of it, not all. So for me, what's my take on this? Well, I gave like a little bit of my opinion. Well, I totally agree with what she said, because she's not trying to generalize everyone. Where's the sun? Okay. So I believe that when Filipinos get married, like, the main family is still important, and sometimes they're not yet financially ready when they're married. So what is there financial literacy in the Philippines? Well, in that case, I will elaborate that more, and I have a good news for you about that too. So anyway, there's no sunshine anymore, and my take on this is, maybe some Filipinos are still, too dependent on their main families, or they would just like to give back. But if you're not ready to have a family, I think you shouldn't try it. I mean, it's a huge responsibility. You know what I find funny in some weddings, like some people would have this grand wedding, even borrow money to have that grand wedding. But then, so dark, they would eventually like separate because they don't have enough money to sustain their lives, and a lot of, what do you call that, debts pile up, and then they have to pay for the house, the girl gets pregnant. All of these reasons to get married is not enough reason to get married. It should be more than that. So anyway, that's all for today. The sun is gone. The sky is so dark. So thank you guys. Bye.